Okay guys, so the dually is on the lift today, doing some work to it. Just getting this kind of ready, taking care of an ABS sensor that's been messing with me for a while now. The 2500 is going to be going under the knife for some pretty major modifications, so this is going to be my main rig again. So I wanted to work on it, get it driving. Actually, it drives excellent. It's just the stopping. That ABS sensor would kick off on me, and also you can see the brakes ain't even working very good up here because I'm not sure. I don't think it's the sensor. When the guy, before I bought this, the guy did a brake job and he didn't do the calipers. And when you're over 100,000 miles, and you do a brake job, you really got to do the calipers too, guys. They just get cruddy and they start sticking, and then you got cruddy brakes. So it's a whole lot easier just to swap the whole thing out. Pads, rotors, calipers. So I've got this side tore apart. I replaced the ABS sensor on this side, but it looked good. So I'm thinking it might be this plug. When I unplugged that, it kind of looked cruddy. And I think maybe I might have got brake fluid in there when I did my brake lines. And might have did a little bit of corrosion in there, caused the trouble. We'll see, I guess. Once I get this all put back together, I'll know. And I probably should just put 2 new sensors in, but they're like $70 a piece, guys. So, I mean, it's quite a bit of money just to be thrown away on the guessing game. So, I just used I saved the ABS sensors. Dad goes through wheel bearings pretty frequently, so I just kind of save his sensors, ABS sensors, because they're always good. They're usually good. He has not had a bad sensor. Of course, he doesn't keep his bearings on there long enough to have a bad sensor. Usually corrosion gets inside these sensors, guys. You pull them out and the sensor will be like all rusty and cruddy. But when I pulled both these out, they looked pretty good. And like I said, the plug-in was crusty looking on that other side. This side was good. So, I mean, it's a Timken. It's got a Timken sensor, and I replaced the other one, was a foreign sensor. There was no name on it, with a Timken sensor. So they're both Timkens. So I think that'll be good. You see, I got my brake calipers and rotors off this side too. Again, rotors really aren't that bad. I'll just start out fresh. Not going to do the rear, guys, just going to get this front. The truck stopped pretty good. I mean, it stopped okay. The ABS was kicking on, so I'm sure that was messing with it. But I got to go get my parts. I'm actually waiting for it. It's supposed to be in at noon, so kind of sitting here getting my ABS sensors all worked out and waiting for noon to happen here. And we'll go get the parts. Having a hard time finding the calipers. 3 stores didn't have them. Finally went to another one, and they ordered them, and they are gonna have them noon today. So really weird, because this is a very common caliper rotor setup, guys. This is a 3500, but the 2500 HDs use the same thing. The steering on this thing is super tight. All the bearings are good. I've got heavy duty steering tie rod ends on this thing. And I've also got the Cognito steering braces. All of them are nice, guys. I got to get a set for the 2500 HD because, I mean, they really tighten up the steering. I mean, this thing is tight. It also helps prolong the rest of your components when you're not flexing all the time. So I've got the Cognito upper control arms on this too, guys. I got the stickers worn off here, but these are the Cognito. I always talk about the Cognito upper control arms. Well, that's them. They do actually have a dual shock option built right into them. That's all they had at the time. I know they got one without now. That's what I'm doing today, getting this thing ready. So I'm gonna head out, get some new shiny parts for this. They won't be shiny long, not with the Wisconsin winters, but we'll get some new parts on this thing. Alrighty guys, so a bunch of new parts here. See, we got 2 new front calipers and some severe duty brake pads. A lot of people cheap out on their pads, guys. Don't do that, that's a mistake. Get some good pads. And then we've got 2 new front rotors here. So I'm ready to start putting some new parts on. Gonna go and clean the face of the bearings off so I can stick my rotors on. And then the only thing that is different on these 3500s is once you put that rotor on, you've got the 1-ton spacer there that bolts onto that, and then your wheel bolts onto that. So okay guys, so I got this side on and you can see the new rotor. You want to clean your rotor before you put your caliper and pads on there. You should use some brake clean to do that because they put oil all over everything so it don't rust while it's sitting on the shelf. So you got to clean that off. And here's the difference in the 3500 right here. You've got this spacer deal that goes on there. And I've got to torque all those to, I believe, 140 foot-pounds, just like the lug nuts. So I got a little trick I do to do that by myself without someone hitting the brakes. So I'll show you that when I get to it. This is ready for the caliper to go back on. So I got my calipers all assembled with the pads, guys. It's pretty simple. You just got to take them apart, slide your pads in. You want to make sure everything is running smooth. The pad should slide in. The deal should slide back and forth easy. Everything should be freed up. So if you got any binding or something's not going in or the pads ain't going in easily, you've got an issue. So everything needs to run smooth. If you forget which side is which on the calipers there, your bleeder screw needs to go to the top. So when you get it bolted on, your bleeder screw is at the top of the caliper. If it's on the bottom, if it's down, you're never going to be able to bleed your brakes. So make sure your bleeder screws are up on the top. So I believe that's about it. I'm going to get this one side bolted on and probably move to the other side then. Well, so there we go, guys. Really as simple as that. Bolt on your caliper, hook your brake line back up. Make sure you use new copper crush washers, guys. This caliper came with a new bolt and the washers. Sometimes they forget them, but this one came with them. And tighten down your brake line pretty good, guys, because you want to crush them. That's why they call them crush washers. If everything comes off fairly easily, this ain't too bad of a job, guys, but a lot of times, especially in these rusty climates, you get a lot of parts fighting you and rusted together, and you end up having to replace more parts than you intend to just to get the parts off. But this went pretty well. I've been in here before, so everything come off pretty easily. So I'm pretty happy about that. This truck's been a lot of pieces have been off this truck already, so this is really ready for the tire. I got to torque these first before I can put the tire on, but that's pretty much it. I'm gonna go to do the other side, and then I'll show you how I run around these and torque them. Okay guys, so this is how I torque these dually adapter deals. Is I just run a piece of wood or something, lower the truck down, then run the piece of wood between the lugs. You don't want to use anything steel. If you do use something steel, make sure you put something over your lugs so you don't mess up your threads. But this is the easiest way I found to do it. You know, if you have someone to go in there and push the brakes, you could probably do that, but that ain't gonna work right now because I haven't bled the brakes yet. But gotta bleed the brakes, and then I just torqued all these. So I torqued the other side and torqued this side. So I'm gonna raise her up. We're gonna start bleeding the brakes. We're gonna start with the farthest one over there, passenger side, and hopefully we'll be putting these tires on soon. Okay guys, so I'm not happy right now. Not happy at all. Trying to bleed the brakes here. And I'm on the other side trying to bleed the brakes. You can see the oil dry all over the ground. Well, I got a bleeder screw that is gushing fluid no matter how tight it goes. And yeah, I'm not happy. I got to take this off, and I got to take it back to the parts store, and they ain't gonna have one till tomorrow. And it's a screw up. It's a real screw up. I'm guessing when they rebuilt this caliper, the old bleeder screw was either seized in there or broke off, and then when they drilled it out or whatever, they got it crooked or something, and the bleeder screw ain't sealing up. I don't know. It's disappointing. Really getting disappointing with the quality of the parts. Now these calipers are not from CarQuest. I knew I should have ordered them from CarQuest. I knew it. Instead, I went to a different place, and this is what I get. I guess I'll be back tomorrow, guys. We'll see what happens. I'll get a new one on. Okay, guys, got my new caliper here. Got my brakes bled. Come to find out, after I took it off, the bleeder was totally corroded in there. There was no place for the bleeder screw to actually seat and stop the fluid. I mean, it was all, the caliper was junk. It should have never passed inspection. It should have never been rebuilt. I mean, it's a junk caliper. But anyways, behind me now, I got this one on. Hopefully brakes are bled. I'm going to drop this thing down. I'm going to get the tires on, and we'll go for a test drive. Hopefully that ABS sensor is fixed, and we can move on. Okay guys, so this is what I use to bleed the brakes when I'm alone. It's just a plastic bottle filled with brake fluid, and then I got a hose that fits tight on the bleeder screw, and always make sure that the hose is inside some fluid, and then I just pump the pedal. So it seems to work okay. I'd rather have someone pump the pedal and then me open the bleeder, but this works when I'm alone. Okay guys, so if your ABS sensor, wheel speed sensor, comes out looking like this, it's actually broke off. There should be another plastic piece around all that wire there. A lot of times they'll break off inside the bearing, and you gotta take a screwdriver or something, needle nose, and pull it out before you install a new sensor. But this was the bad one, and it's a Timken, but it was bad, and this was on the passenger side, so I just replaced it again with a good used one off my dad's truck. So they're about I think 60-70 bucks a piece. So when I can save that kind of money, I'd like to. So this was the problem on the dually. Well, quick test drive, guys, and she feels good. I had to go back and replace the passenger side ABS or wheel speed sensor, because apparently it wasn't the driver's side. So after doing that, she's running good. May have to bleed the brakes again. But that's it, guys. It's gonna do it for me on this one. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one.